Welcome back, everyone, to my review of the Santa Clauses series on Disney+. We're going to be talking about episode 3 today, so if you don't want any spoilers for episode 3, go watch it on Disney Plus and then come back and then you can enjoy the discussion. But for right now, I'm just going to jump right into the episode. So let's talk about episode 3 of the Santa Clauses show. Just like my last review, I'm going to be talking about the nice, which is the stuff that I like in the show so far. I'm going to be talking about the naughty, which is the stuff I don't really like in the show so far. And then finally, we're going to be doing our Bernard watch because, listen, we're both here for the same reason. We're here for Bernard, and I know that's what you want me to talk about. So we're going to be talking about Bernard, whether he's in the episode or not in the episode, because I could talk about Bernard forever, and we have to talk about him, even if he's not in the episode. So like usual, let's start off with the nice. So far, I've really enjoyed the pacing of this show. I feel like it really understands the assignment of being a 6-episode series. It's felt like each episode so far has had a very distinct purpose. Episode 1 was about Santa losing his magic. Episode 2 was about the succession clause. And now episode 3 is about finding the next Santa. And I would assume that episode 4 would be very much a fish out of water episode with the family now out of the North Pole. Episode 5 would be about the North Pole, about things going wrong, and would probably have a cliffhanger at the end. And then episode 6 is obviously going to be our finale, where Bernard comes and saves the day. Another thing that I really liked is that I was way off about why Santa chose Simon, and I'm very happy that I was wrong. I feel a little stupid that I didn't connect the similarities between Scott and Simon as single dads. It just didn't even occur to me. And that's a way better way to connect Simon and Scott and also connect this show to the original movie than Simon just being good at the job. Honestly, just a bad idea by me. And at the end of the day, I just appreciate that they're both single dads who work too hard, who love their kids and never stop. Just like Reba.
A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops.
And adding to that point, I really enjoyed all of Scott and Simon's scenes together. It's weird because I feel like Tim Allen has been playing this everyman for so long. Like that is his shtick, that anytime he's on screen with another person, if they just have like a little bit of charisma, they just absolutely shine on screen with them. And that's no dig at Tim Allen. He is so good at playing the everyman that it just works so well in these roles. And because of that, every scene that Simon and Scott were in together didn't feel forced at all and really felt believable. I also really enjoyed all of the lore type stuff that was in this episode. Gary from ELFS was great, and I think that is the closest we're ever going to get to the Elf Tracker 3000, which was my idea from my original pitch, because he's kind of like an elf tracker. It's just not a device, it's an actual person. It's just Gary. And I also just felt like a complete idiot after this show because I was thinking like, oh, ELFS. That's like a really fun acronym. I wonder what that stands for. And then I looked it up on Google and I spelled elves in my Google search. I'm an idiot. And I also really enjoyed the character of La Befana. I'm always down for new mythological or magic characters in the Santa Claus franchise, as long as they're down to talk shop with Santa and Mother Nature and the Sandman and Father Time and the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny. That's what I love about this franchise. It's like, I love the magic aspect of it, but if you're not willing to talk shop and just sit around the North Pole and talk about stuff, I don't want you in my franchise. That basically covers all the nice things, all the stuff that I liked in the show so far and in this episode. So let's go ahead and move on to the naughty. I just wish they would have interviewed a few more people for Santa. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of funny montage type things, but that scene was built for a montage. There could have been so many people that you could have brought in to just have a little cameo and interview as Santa. A very shameless plug, but back in March, my brothers and I on our podcast, The Good Brothers Show, pitched a bunch of different actors that we thought would be great to take the mantle of Santa. Some of the actors that we pitched were Jack Black, Craig Robinson, Matt LeBlanc, and Brendan Fraser, and they would have all been perfect for this montage, especially Brendan Fraser. If there's one actor that I would be willing to give the Santa Claus mantle to instead of Bernard, it's Brendan Fraser. He just deserves it. We all know Brendan Fraser would be the perfect Santa. And this is no dig at Peyton Manning at all. I think he did a great job. And if we're just talking about athletes as actors, Peyton is pretty high up there. He's pretty solid. I just would have liked a few more interviews. Come on, Santa. You just interviewed Peyton Manning and then Simon. Where are the other people? Your book was so big. There are so many candidates. And one other thing that I didn't really love and something I'm kind of getting nervous about is Cal. I think going forward, it's pretty clear that Sandra is going to be more of the focus when it comes to the two kids. And I think Cal is going to get a little bit sidelined and not really change that much as a character, where Sandra, I think, is going to have a significant arc in this show, which isn't really a bad thing at all. You only have so much time to develop characters and you have to pick and choose who you want to develop. And we got a lot more Cal in the last 2 episodes. It makes sense to develop Sandra more because she is literally Tim Allen's biological daughter, and there's just going to be a much more genuine connection there. And I also think that Sandra having potential magic could foreshadow her becoming Santa. And while that's not a bad thing, I am so adamant on Bernard being Santa that this just goes into the naughty category by default. Listen, Sandra, I hope you have a fantastic character arc, but Bernard is going to be our Santa. And even if he doesn't become Santa, we are all going to look at him as our Santa. All right, now that we've talked about all the naughty in this episode, all the stuff that I didn't like, it's time to address our Bernard watch. So there was no Bernard in this episode. No mention of his name, no silhouette that is probably just a statue, but I'm convinced that it is Bernard. None of that. And even though Bernard is not in this episode, I felt his presence, and I feel like you did too. And I'm not going to miss an opportunity to talk about Bernard. I could talk about him for hours, so we're still going to talk about Bernard, even though he's not physically in the episode and his name's not mentioned in the episode. We're still going to take time to talk about my favorite elf, and I imagine your favorite elf. So I think that the biggest connection to Bernard in this episode is the fact that Simon is clearly the wrong person to be Santa. We see this from the coat literally avoiding Simon like he's the plague, just does not even want to be attached to that man. And also, Betty has been super weird throughout this entire succession clause situation. I don't know if it's that she needs to put on this persona of, I'm the head elf, I need to be mean to the new Santa, like how Bernard kind of was to Scott Calvin in the original Santa Claus movie, or if she just knows something that we don't know. Either way, Betty is acting extremely sus. And the last thing is we see the stone / gem, whatever it is, from Bernard at the end of the episode, and it's slowly getting more and more black in the center, which is a terrible sign for the North Pole and for Simon, but a great sign for Bernard potentially being Santa, because he needs to come in, see that stone and gem and be like, oh, I know exactly how to fix this. Give me the coat. And we're going to be smooth sailing for the rest of the show. I don't necessarily have any more predictions for the show going forward. I think the next episode is going to be super straightforward. I think the family's going to be adjusting to living a regular life, and I think that Simon is going to be adjusting to being Santa, and that's basically going to be the entire episode, but it's going to be super necessary for us to get to episode 5 and to the finale of the show. And just a quick little side note, they finally addressed that Cal is Buddy from Santa Claus 3. I never had any doubts, and I also forgot that his name was even Buddy. I'm sorry, that makes me look like such a Santa Claus novice, but he finally addressed that his name is Buddy and Cal is just a nickname. So everyone on Twitter freaking out about it, chill out. Cal and Buddy are the same person, but I don't think he's the same baby. That is really the big question. Is the kid in the show the same as the kid in the movie? If so, that baby has had a fantastic career. Santa Claus 3 and the Santa Clauses, man, what a great career, and what a great baby actor and also adult actor. And those of you in the comments correcting me, I understand they're not the same. I'm just doing a bit. I'm just kind of joking around, joshing around. But let's go ahead and start that rumor that the baby and the adult in the show are the same. Let's go ahead and start that rumor. Why not? Start the rumor. Before I end this review, I do want to read a comment that I got on my review of episode 1 and 2 that I thought was just a fantastic comment from Angie A. Hey. She said, I have had the theory that Bernard is half human and a child of Santa for years. I think there is a council of claws out there with the offspring of Santa that isn't talked about because they hold a bit of Santa magic / elf magic within them due to the nature of their birth, but because they're not in the North Pole anymore, it has gone dormant. Honestly, I think there's a Krampus out there in the Santa Claus universe that is an offspring of Santa, but because the world has changed since the time that the Krampus had a more prominent role in the Christmas lore, think of the whole we don't say naughty scene, their magic has either gone extinct or fully dormant. It would also go along with the existence of the upcoming appearance of La Befana, who we just saw in this last episode, who is only only celebrated / acknowledged in certain parts of the world. We obviously don't know what role she will play in the series. We still don't know. She could have more role in it, but she opens up a whole slew of possibilities in her mere existence, including and not limited to a council of clauses, which makes me so excited. I wished for years that I had the ability to write a Santa Claus sequel with such a plot, so I may have put too much thought into this. No, you did not. You're looking at the guy that hired another guy to make storyboards for a fake show. You're not doing enough, actually. You should be writing way more about this. I don't really have anything else to add to Angie's comment. I just thought it was a great comment, and I just wanted to read it. And if you guys have any other theories or ideas for the show, leave them in the comments. I would love to discuss the show further, and that just sounds super fun to me, so leave your ideas in the comment section. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. If you could leave a like on this video, I really would appreciate it. It helps the channel out a bunch. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you just recently subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. I really, really do appreciate it. And for right now, I'm going to go lock myself in a room and think about Santa Claus, because that feels like it's the only thing I do with my life anymore. And I will see you for episode 4.